So, first of all, thanks for being here. There are lots of interesting talks, and it's fascinating how many people go to the not interesting talks. But thanks anyway. My name is FX, or Felix from the German Phenolite group. I'm well, as many hackers, I'm a security consultant in my professional life, running Sabre Labs, which is the professional services side of Hyver's cyber security company. And today I'm here talking about analyzing complex systems, and with the example of how we worked on the Blackberry. If I sound a bit funny, that's the sound system. No, seriously, I'm just a bit sick. So let's start. When you're looking at a complex system, like you plan, okay, we went ahead and said, okay, so several people asked us to look at Blackberry as a whole because like everyone uses it. They're called crackberries by now because they make addictive. And so everyone wants used it, but like all the security people say, look, like my CEO is running around with this thing and I don't know shit about it. So could you guys in your spare time, because we don't have any money to spend on that, look at this stuff and tell us if it's secure or not. So if you're approaching something like this, you first need to get a bigger picture. Whoever does the sound, it sounds really funny. Like I have echo here, so I'm not entirely sure if I should take different drugs, but okay. The big picture. Why do you need a big picture? What you see is what you get is usually not a very good approach when you go to a complex system. In the case of a Blackberry, like the intuitive step is you take a device and you just look at it from all sides and say, okay, what can I do with this? Can I attack it or not? But the device is just one part of a very large system. And you shouldn't immediately like take this device and go and start trying to hack it. If nothing else, the best reason why you should not do that is because the defender, in this case the vendor of the device, probably put most of the security into what you have in your hand, what you see first, like the devices. Like the CEO is going to take this device and say, is this secure? And RIM is going to say, yes, it is secure. So it's usually, in absolutely all cases I've seen, not a good idea to go right to the first thing you see. Also, the bigger picture is needed to find what's really a promising attack vector. Well, you have this, again, this Blackberry device, and you're not sure. I mean, it does email, you can surf the web, you can get calls, whatever. You don't really know what will be a useful attack vector. Like in which position do I have to be to attack someone? And of course, you have to concentrate on something. I mean, taking something apart is not easily done. I mean, if it's a Cisco, it takes you a week or two. But if it's a thing like Blackberries, it's going to take quite a while. And unless you have a three-letter acronym as your company or your agency, which supposedly has unlimited resources, then you have to like deal with your resources and find what you should really look at. Speaking of resources, you have to find out what you actually need to do the research you want to do. Like, what hardware do we need? Do we need special hardware? In the case of a Blackberry, it would be quite useful to actually have a device. What software do you need? Like, do I need special debugging software? Do I need whatever? What infrastructure do you need? Again, in a Blackberry case, the thing is not going to be anything else than a fancy, clumsy mobile phone unless you have an account somewhere where you can actually do, like, pull your email or get your email pushed. So you actually need accounts. Someone is breaking into it. Hi. That's the other talk. And of course, what tools do you need? So getting what you need actually might take time. In my case, I wanted a BlackBerry Enterprise server, and that's something you don't go to the shop around the corner and say, can I have a BlackBerry Enterprise server CD, please? So you have to call people, figure out who could have this piece of software, who could give it to you, stuff like that. And of course, like, trying to get stuff might have consequences. Like, how much money do you want to invest? Can you afford investing money? Can you afford crossing legal lines? For example, like getting the BlackBerry Enterprise Server software wasn't actually legal for me. Was it a big legal crossing? No, probably not. So that's the last point. Do you care? Like, for everything you look at, do you care? Like, if you're doing research in your company and it's costing money, do you care or not? And very important is, can you afford the target you're researching to know that it is potentially under attack? That's a very interesting thing, because if you ever did professional pen testing, you've probably come across a situation where you attack a system and the administrators know that a pen test is going on and secured while you're attacking it. Like, you create an account, you want to use the account, and the account is gone in the same minute. Or they close ports where you found vulnerable software or stuff like that. Same for bigger targets. For complex systems, it's the same deal. If you're playing with the system too noisy, they might notice that there's an issue. Like, if you're trying to find vulnerabilities in a webmail system and you send email that crashes the system, you're surely going to make them aware of the fact that they have a software problem. So before anything else, make sure you identify all components. As I said, don't stop with the handheld device. Go and find what's there. And don't miss the non-obvious components. So this is RIM's version of the big picture. We have, like, the handhelds. Oh, let's go downstairs here. We have the handheld side with, like, third-party devices running BlackBerry stuff. We have the native BlackBerry devices. Then we have several different mobile networks, which is fairly important. Then there's, like, lots of arrows here and one arrow through the internet. So obviously there's something missing here. Then we have the big bad internet. Firewall, more or less. We don't know how this puke through the firewall looks like. And then we have wireless policies and all the different crap on the server side, interfacing to Exchange and other services. And then in a small print, it says, like, web applications and internal blah, blah, and whatnot. So there's quite a lot on this official big picture that you want to look at. The first thing you should do is get an abstract big picture. Like, figure out what are the core components we're interested in, which is, in this case, we see, again, this is sport. We have the evil BlackBerry, GSM network, in my case. Then you've seen those arrows on the slide before, so you have provider-side servers, which is at least for the end user accounts, because if you buy a BlackBerry from T-Mobile and use it privately, it's going to come with a pre-configured account. But that has to run on some servers. So you have, in a GSM network provider side, you have RIM servers. Then you have somehow a connection to the RIM secret network. You have those RIM hubs that people connect to. On the corporate network side, you have an enterprise server, and you have management software to that, which is also a small piece of thing that people usually overlook. There has to be a management interface to all the infrastructure. And that has to have more powers to it than the average end user, especially if you're looking at this connection versus this connection. And this has a connection to the RIM side as well. So taking a step back and making it more abstract gives you a way better idea what potential targets are. So when you break it down, you have the handheld devices, the mobile network, the RIM network, you have some internet-based communication, a BlackBerry Enterprise server, a BlackBerry Enterprise server connector that talks to your mail system, and you have management tools. Now with this list, you can go ahead and reclassify them in terms of what are they? Like for the handheld system, it's an embedded system, obviously. It's proprietary hardware, fairly important because you don't get like pinouts and PCB layouts on the internet. It has obviously a real-time operating system, otherwise it wouldn't do GSM and you wouldn't have clear calls. And it obviously runs Java because the software is slow. So on the mobile network side, you have a 2.5 or 3G GSM network with everything that comes with GSM functionality, which interfaces with the handheld. You have the RIM network, which is unknown. We don't know anything about it, but we can be pretty sure that they're not running on IPX, so it's probably IP-based. We have internet-based communication between the enterprise servers and RIM, and that's pretty sure IP-based, otherwise it would be a pain in the ass to route. And it's probably a proprietary protocol. That's easy to check. You open the sniffer, etherreal, you look at 5 packets, etherreal says IP, TCP, data. Okay, so it's proprietary. You have a Blackberry enterprise server, which is Windows-based server software, and it's closed source. And the management tools is the same thing, Windows-based, and it's client-server software. Now, with the reclassification, you can also go ahead and see how's the accessibility? Like, how easy is it to get to one of those components? Handheld device, doable, just costs money. Mobile network, pretty hard because people tend to defend their GSM networks, but also pretty illegal. RIM network, I would say fairly doable compared to GSM network, but still fairly illegal. Internet-based communication, well, doable. The only thing you need is a working installation. Very important. You need a working enterprise server installation talking to RIM. Blackberry enterprise server, well, pretty easy. See our lady IDA. Same for the management tools. And then, very interesting is look at what would be the impact of a successful attack. Like sit back, drink a beer, smoke a cigarette or whatever you prefer, and just like imagine you were already done for each and every component, and then think what would be the impact of a successful attack here. For the handheld devices, it would be, of course, information disclosure. You would read someone else's email. And potentially you would have remote control over some poor ass at the airport. But that's just one single user. With a mobile network, you could redirect all the communication and stuff, but well, if you own an entire GSM network, there's better things to do than play around with the Blackberries accessing it. The RIM network, well, that would be pretty fun because you have full control over the infrastructure. You actually are RIM. So you can finally prove all the claims about the security and stuff. Internet-based communication, if you like have successful attacks on that, you can impersonate one of the 2 communication points unless there's very strong crypto in place. And also, you can do brute force attacks on both sides. Just even if you don't know if there's passwords involved or anything, you know if you speak the protocol, if you have reverse